A man had a dream, and he had died and was dreaming that he had gotten to what he thought was heaven. But it did not look right. There was a big wall and gates, but the wall was in disrepair. It was crumbling, and lots of vines growing on it, and the gates were not on their hinges. It all looked like a bit like a ruin, really. There was a man sitting there, and so this man who's having this dream, he walks up to this stranger, this gatekeeper. He says to him, "Hey, can you help me?" "Yeah, what do you want?" "Well, I just died. Is this heaven?" The guy says, "Wait, heaven. Yeah, sorry to break it to you. We made that up. We knew that you would not be good on earth unless there was some reward, punishment sort of thing, so we made up heaven and hell just to make sure you do the right thing while you're on earth." Wondering what you're thinking about that dream. Some of you might not think of it as a dream. You think of it as a nightmare. Like, what? No heaven? Now, rest assured, that dream is a dream. It's not true. We certainly believe in heaven and hell. But it is an interesting question. To put it differently, why are you a Christian? Why are you a disciple? In other words, what's your motivation here? Is it because of heaven? Is that what you're shooting for? I mean, that's not an unreasonable answer, and I'm sure if we did a show of hands, it would be an unusual person who would disagree with that. Of course, we're in this so we all get to go to heaven. And there are lots of Bible verses to back this up. I found a website that listed 20 or so verses out of the New Testament, basically talking in one way or another about rewards that we get in heaven. And this idea of rewards is certainly helpful occasionally in theological questions. I don't know if you've ever considered the issue of deathbed confessions, deathbed salvation, if you will. The idea that someone could live a horrible, horrible life, and at the very last moment be converted and baptized and welcomed into heaven. Most of us were thinking, well, wait, there's got to be something to sort of make up for the fact that he did not do what he was supposed to do throughout his life, and of course we have. And so we think, I know how this is going to work. It's about rewards. I'm going to end up in this lovely mansion in heaven up on the hill. And this guy, the deathbed confession guy, he's going to get a shack just inside the gate. That's how God's going to sort of make it up to me. Well, what about the other parts of Scripture? Jesus does tell that parable about the workers in the vineyard. I don't know if you remember that one. The guy, landowner, he goes out and he hires people at the beginning of the day, and then he goes out several more times, hires more workers. So they do not all work the same amount of time, and yet at the end of the day, he pays them all exactly the same amount of money. He does exactly, for the first group, exactly what he told them he would do. He gives them a day's wage, but he's very generous, incredibly generous with everyone else. Not much of a reward in that. And there's certainly no rewards in the gospel we just heard. Didn't you catch that at the end? When you have done all that you have been commanded, say, we are unprofitable servants and have done what we are obliged to do. Not much reward in that. And when you start thinking about rewards, you do have to be careful. You can quickly get yourself to a point where you take grace out of the picture. You can turn it into this transactional thing. Well, I have done this and this and this and this, and therefore God owes me this. that's simple and it's clean, but it's not the gospel. The gospel tells us that, oh, no. If we're going to make it into heaven, it's going to be because of God's grace. Unmerited favor is the definition of that word. And so you'd appreciate that this is tricky. What do you do with this? How do you reconcile all this? I mean, is it okay to look forward to heaven as a reward? Is that okay for a motivation? Or is something else supposed to be going on? I spent a good part of the week kind of, tossing this around and spend some time looking for other people to give me some idea about, well, what's a good way to look at this? And my go-to commentators, that is, people who write these books about biblical passages, nobody wanted to touch this. They just ignored it. They looked at this passage in a different way. And so I was kind of left on my own. And as I thought about it, I suddenly remembered my love of golf. And so let me tell you a little bit about my understanding of the game of golf. Now, I appreciate not all of you play, and some of you don't even know much about it. So perhaps you could think of a sport that is meaningful to you, and you'll pick the point up. I remember when I got my first set of clubs. I think I was in like 5th grade, 6th grade, junior little set, and I did not get a chance to go to a golf course very often at all. But I had also gotten some tiny little wiffle ball golf balls, plastic golf balls in essence. And I would go out in the yard and I would just hit these all the time. There was no hole to hit towards or anything like that. I literally just hit the ball around the yard and just enjoyed it. But as you can imagine, as I got a little older, got a chance to play on regular courses, the score started to matter. So you go to the golf course and you play and you kept score. And the score, if you will, became the reward in playing golf. If I played well, the reward was I felt good about myself and about the game. And if I played badly, the opposite happened. But fortunately, that season did not last all that long. As I got a little older, especially when I was working at Tampa Catholic, I was just really privileged to coach the golf team there for a whole bunch of seasons. And basically what happened was I just fell in love with golf. And the reward was not the score. Even with the kids and trying to coach them, we were trying, of course, to play well, to win matches. But the real joy of the thing was the game. In other words, the reward was just in playing the game. And a lot of people don't believe me when I told them this, but I can assure you that I would be thrilled, happy to go out on a course, play 18 holes of golf, and not keep score. Just go play. Just play, just hit the ball, and if the ball doesn't quite go where you really would like it to, well, that's fine. You just go find the thing, and now it's like, well, this shot's going to be interesting, and you just hit another one, and you just keep playing. I just wonder if that is sort of a hint about the rewards that Jesus and the Gospels talk about. Because take this story. We look at this and we say, oh, this poor servant, he spent the whole day out working, and now he's got to come in, and now he doesn't get any break, he doesn't get any reward. He's got to fix the supper for his master. But is it not true that this guy could love serving? In other words, his reward is not that the master congratulates him or says, well done, good and faithful servant, or anything like that. The reward is just in the service. He's thrilled to serve. He's thrilled to handle the duties of the sheep and the farm, and he comes in and he's thrilled to cook for his master. Some of us have met people like this. They live to serve their families, whatever it is. I just wonder if that's where we ought to be heading in our spiritual life. I mean, you may not be there now. I'm not sure that I am. because it makes sense early on in our spiritual life. We need something tangible to look forward to, and heaven, and however you picture it, that's terrific. But I just wonder if what Jesus is trying to get us to do is, as you grow in your spiritual walk, you get to the point where the reward thing, it doesn't matter. The joy is in being a disciple, just happy to be a disciple of the Lord. In other words, it would be as if that dream continued, and the gatekeeper says, "Hey, no, we made this up." And the guy in the dream would look at him and say, "Well, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter. It was great. I had a wonderful life on earth because I spent my life with the Lord. I spent my life serving the Lord. Oh, it was great." And then maybe the gatekeeper would smile and look at the guy and say to him, "I'm glad you feel that way. Why don't you go on in? Heaven's just around the corner."